Welcome. Today, I'm going to talk about red flag account. This is the new concept introduced by RBI on bonds. That is, the Reserve Bank of India in the newly introduced LFAR, that is long form audit report, has requested the chartered accountant to report about the red flag account. So in the LFAR, it is stated that red flag accounts report has to be verified by the chartered accountant, and the red flag concept was introduced by RBI to get the banks to act on early warning signal, which include the raids conducted by regulatory and tax authorities. They say that if any raid is being conducted by the tax authorities and if any raid is being conducted by regulatory authorities, they are all the base to see that there is a scope for RFA, that is red flag account. Once if an account is being red flagged, banks are mandated to complete the forensic audit within 6 months and decide, and it has to see whether that account is a fraudulent account or not. So RBI has introduced the concept of red flag account due to the fund diversion. That is also another reason that a fund diversion made by the banks and the mounting of NPA level at the branches. So they say that one raid conducted by the tax authorities and regulatory authorities, and another thing is fund diversion and the mounting of NPA. All are the reasons to see that an account will be coming under the category of RFA, that is a red flag account. If early warning signal is pointed out that there are scope for red flag account due to the suspicion of some fraudulent activity, then it triggers the bank to go on alert mode and they start to verify the bank rules. So if any RFA is there, then it's a trigger that is being given to the bank to carry out the transactions at a very careful manner. Then the alert of red flag account indicates the weakness and wrongdoing in the accounts, which may ultimately turn out to be a fraud. One has to see that if it is not, one has to see that it is not all the every flagged account result in fraud. RFA, that is red flagged account, is payment is worth investigating from fraudulent angle. Suppose if it's a base for the fraud, it's a base for the fraud, then banks are just like that cannot afford red flag accounts warning given by the early warning persons, early warning signals given by the persons. That is early warning signal persons. Normally it is chartered accountants also who are all doing the audit. They are the base, and irrespective of the lending arrangement in banks. What are the lending arrangement in banks? It is consortium advances, multiple banking or sole banking. If the limit exceeds 50 crore, if the aggregate limit exceeds 50 crore, then in case of red flag account, the bank have started to do the working of forgery, and it is stated that RBI that forensic audit has to be done within 6 months of the identification. So within 6 months of identification, if an account becomes RFA, then you have to conduct the forensic audit. This is also another professional opportunity available to the chartered accountants. In case any loan has been identified as a red flag account, then that account is not eligible for restructuring. Here comes the real picture. If you identify one account as RFA, then that account is not eligible for the restructuring of the loans, as well as then that borrower is not eligible for any additional loan facility. And also, RBI say that a strict penal provisions can be imposed on all RFA transactions against the borrower, which includes director. So not only the borrower is a company, then all penal provisions will be attracted. Plus, against the directors of the company, against the partners of the company, the strict provisions will be implemented or can be imposed on the all RFA transactions, red flag account transactions. If one is defaulted and identified as fraudulent person, then he is not eligible for any bank finance. Suppose if you identify one account as RFA, then that person is not eligible for any bank finance, and not only from bank and also from the financial institutions for a period of 5 years from the full payment of defrauded amount. Here it is clear that the first thing if the RFA account has to be settled, and if it is a fraud, then that fraud, the person who has been identified as a fraudulent person, he has to make the full payment to the bank. From the payment made for the further period of 5 years, that person is not eligible to get any bank finance and as well as from the loans from the financial institutions. The affected part, next thing is the regulatory measures. The affected bank has to report the same to CRILIC, that is Central Repository of Information on Large Credits, so that other banks will look into the details of RFA at the time of lending. So it's an information that other banks, they start to see CRILIC before lending the loans. Thereafter, within 15 days, the bank which has red flagged account or detected the fraud would ask a consortium leader or the largest lender to convene a meeting of the joint lenders forum to discuss the issue. It's a very, very important thing. Then once if an account is being identified as that is red flag account, then the consortium leader, he has to convene the meeting of the joint lenders forum. The account would be red flagged by all the banks and subjected to forensic audit commission or initiated by the consortium leader or the largest lender under the multiple banking arrangement. Here it is very clear that who has to initiate the forensic audit. If it is the case of consortium advances, it is consortium leader. And in case of multiple finance, multiple banking loans, then the large lender, they have to initiate the forensic audit. The forensic audit must be completed within 3 months, from the date of joint lenders forum meeting authorizing the audit. So within 15 days of forensic audit, the JLF will reconvene and decide the status of the account. So forensic audit has to be conducted and they have to report to the consortium leader, and from the date, and they have to submit to the JLF, and the JLF will reconvene, decide the status of the account, whether it's a fraudulent account or not, that has to be decided. And it is the statement given by the Reserve Bank of India. In case the decision is to classify the account as fraud, then RFA status would change to fraud. All banks are reported to RBI and on the CRILIC platform within a week. Suppose if it is decided to identify that account as fraud, then the same has to be reported to RBI, and within a week of identification, it has to be reported to the RBI. Then RFA, that is a red flag account, is being given importance by Reserve Bank of India now through LFIR. So this year we are going to do the audit, so you have to be very, very careful. Hence, the auditors must be very careful to give importance to the early warning signals. And once again, I repeat that it's another professional opportunity available to the chartered accountant to do the forensic audit in all those red flag accounts. So this is a new concept, and just for easy understanding, I have given the presentation here. And with this, I am signing off the presentation. Thanks for watching the red flag account presentation. It is a very, very good area, and please go through the subject very carefully. Then you will get a lot of professional opportunity in handling the RFA, that is red flag account. Thank you very much for patient watching the program. Nandri, Vanakkam.